Hello, my name is Mariah. Since receiving a bachelor's degree, I've had 3 jobs in 5 years. So I started my first job as a personal trainer and I worked there for about 20 months. After that time period, I took all my clients and to another facility to train independently. My next job, I started working at a chiropractic clinic as a chiropractic technician. I worked there for a little over 2 years before I switched jobs and got a position as a patient service specialist in a physical therapy clinic. So, after all 3 jobs, I've decided to go back to school so I can be a clinician in a physical therapy clinic. So, my first job after my bachelor's degree was as a personal trainer. I wanted to have a job and work in the field that I actually kind of learned about in school. So I started working as a personal trainer and was eager to learn about more about working with clients. However, the first thing that the company that hired me told me was that I need to learn about the sales aspect. Now, in school, they just told you about the scientific way of training people. They didn't tell you about the sales aspect. So when I learned about the sales and started working with clients, I was good to go. However, there was a wide group of individuals that I wasn't able to train. And this is due to the complex conditions that they had. So I had never heard of these conditions in school, or if I did, it was just a brief overview. We didn't go into depth with it. So I asked my coworkers on how to train these individuals, and they didn't know. So I unfortunately had to decline to train these individuals due to my own lack of knowledge. Now, I did a little bit of research and found out that in order to have a proficient, like to learn about this information, I needed to get more education. So, a coworker suggested working in a healthcare facility to obtain at least a little bit more information. So, I did get hired at a chiropractic clinic as a chiropractic technician. Now, this is my second job, but this was actually my first job in a healthcare field. So, I was able to utilize my current knowledge that I received as my undergraduate in exercise science and what I learned as a personal trainer to incorporate that into my duties as a chiropractic technician. However, there were certain aspects of a healthcare facility that I just did not know and I was able to learn. So, the first part of the clinic that I was educated on was the flow of the workplace. Another aspect was the different types of insurances. Now, not every insurance was covered for chiropractic care. So, after learning that, I already knew that there was going to be a limit on who was actually going to be able to go there to be treated. Um, so I worked at the clinic. I was able to eventually obtain the position as head chiropractic technician. Now, with that position, they wanted me to do obviously more work and more duties. Now, some of the duties I did not agree that was in my scope of practice. For example, they wanted me to do manual muscle testing, and I did not know the hows, whys, or saw any research on how to do it or why I should do this. And I did ask them, but they did not provide me with that information. So I was very uncomfortable with this and reached out for another opinion on the matter. Now, my coworker at this time, she had recommended, since I was looking into the more research as to why I should do this, I should look into the physical therapy field because they are based off of scientific research. So I talked with a few physical therapists and they kind of explained what they do and why they do it and say they can treat a variety of different cases. So at that point in time, I did get an interview and get hired at a physical therapy clinic. Now, I got hired as a patient service specialist, so this was a dual position within the clinic. I was basically the front office working with validating insurances, getting authorization, and explaining benefits to patients, as well as working with the patients under the physical therapist, critiquing form, and working with patients under the physical therapist. So within this new rule, I was able to have a job that I enjoyed that was both interesting and challenging. However, there were still instances that patients asked me questions that I just had no idea what the answer was. So, fortunately, I was able to refer them to the physical therapist on staff to ask them. And after a while, I kept on getting these questions that I just didn't know. So I asked a physical therapist, and she actually recommended that I look into a physical therapy or a physical therapy assistance program. So I looked into it. I kind of debated the pros and cons and looked at the prerequisite, the cost, the time. And at that point, I decided to go back to school to get an associate degree as a physical therapy assistant. So after my bachelor's degree, I took my time working 3 jobs in 5 years to determine my future career path. During this time, I was able to obtain workplace knowledge within the healthcare field that will help me to achieve my goal of getting my degree. With this degree, I will be able to continue learning and can use scientific research to answer questions patients will ask me and to treat a variety of different cases.